Have you ever chased a dream only to realize when you got there that maybe it wasn't actually yours? Like something doesn't fully settle within you, something doesn't fully feel right. And if you did, hypothetically, or if you have, would you have the courage to walk away, to begin again, to follow your curiosity and that kind of pulling within us, maybe towards something that feels a little bit irrational, but aligned? That's kind of what this conversation is about, or I think maybe the message through this week's guest's story. If you know my story, that's definitely been part of my life. But I think with this week's guest, Aisha Makara, she is so driven by following her dreams, kind of no matter what they are. So we talk about the difference between the dreams that are really ours and the ones maybe we think that we should want because of what society kind of tells us equals success as a creator. And there's something actually really uncomfortable about realizing that you've outgrown your path you once really thought would be right for you. It's almost like a grief that happens at the end of that. And that's definitely something that I've been through a few times. Noticing, that the thing that you're putting so much effort and so much work into actually isn't really in alignment with who you are now. It could be in alignment with who you were, or just what society thinks you should want. Maybe it's more you're chasing significance, validation, proving something. Aisha Makara, this week's guest, her life has taken some really bold turns. She is originally from Mongolia. She found herself in Hollywood, chasing the actor's dream, then became an artist whose work has been sent to space. She's owned a hotel, or she still does, and she's had a life of quite deep spiritual exploration, and she's really driven by just doing everything her heart desires in this lifetime. What really stuck with me was the way that she approaches dreams. She tests them really in real life. She commits fully when something feels aligned, and she's willing to leave when it no longer fits. And I think at some point we all face that question. Are we brave enough to choose what's truly ours? Or are we just going to continue down a path of what everybody else wants for us, or whatever society wants for us? It's a really interesting conversation, and I cannot wait to hear what you all think. So let's dive in, shall we? Aisha, a massive warm welcome to Maverick Mind. Aisha, a massive warm welcome to Maverick Mind. Such a joy to have you on the show.
Thank you, Ellie, having me. I really appreciated this time, and super excited for our conversation today.
Me too. I mean, I'm excited to know where the conversation's really going to go, because you have done so many different things. And I feel I speak a lot about creative energy, and your creative energy is channeled through many different directions. I'd love to know, maybe just to kind of guide the audience to know you a little bit better, what are you working on right now?
Right now, I'm actually working on my exhibition that's going to happen in March, and also probably going sailing this year from New Zealand to South Africa.
Wow, sorry, I was just doing the geography in my head there. That's a long way to be sailing.
It's about maybe like 4 months.
Yeah. Wow. Is that for a particular thing, or is it just for a trip?
Well, I have my dream because I accomplished so many dreams and I have so much to live, and I decided that I get to have many dreams as possible because it will help me to live my life more in a joyful and excited way. And one of my dreams is sailing around the world, and that's I started to practice sailing back in Florida when I was living in Miami, and I was doing it like just short trips, maximum maybe like a week. And one day I was like, why not to do around the world? And it was a moment when people said to me, "You're so young. Why you want to do that now? And why you want to do the whole the way now?" And I said, maybe they're right. Maybe I should do this for school, because I want to be the own captain. Every time I was on a boat, I didn't like a little bit the way captain lead the boat. So I was like, I want to be the captain of my own boat. So I started to study. Last year, I did a whole school of sailing. It's much to do. Actually, it's like so much to study anyway. So I just decided, like, slowly started to do these trips to kind of like learn better about ocean and in a practical way. I've done here in Portugal last year, and it wasn't, the people don't go far away; they just going by the coast. And I'm like, I want to do more challenging trips. So that's one of my first trips, I would say, long
Love
term,
that.
long trips.
Love that. So, would you say, in general, you're driven by curiosity or challenge, or just to experience all that there is to experience in the world? Or is it something else that really, really drives you to do all these different things?
Yeah, I'm curious of how I can manage these things. For example, many years ago when I was very young, I want to be an actress. And I was studying that time in Norway, and I was working as engineer, and I already accomplished all my dreams that time, like living, traveling around the world, doing the things I want to do. And I was 20 years old, and I remember I was in New York, in the Times Square for the New Year's, and I was like, calling, I'm a winner, I'm a winner, I'm a winner. I live all my dreams. I went to all these cities and countries that I want to go to. And the reality, I was thinking it's going to take me all my life. And here I am at 20, like staying on the top of the rooftop restaurant in New York, and I'm like in a beautiful dress, and like I'm a winner. So, and after that, I was lost, and I decided like what I want to have to accomplish next. So I decided to be an actress. And my friends in Norway, they were saying to me, Aisha, why do you want to be no actress in Hollywood? Why do you want to go to Hollywood? So I was like, if I want to be like famous or popular, I get to go to the Hollywood. That's what I did. I went to the Hollywood, and was staying there, doing all this networking. That's the first time in my life I was doing all this like networking and background jobs and all the things. It was so challenging because, when you're moving from Norway, from very little country, so naive and believing in all this, like as a child, very open and naive, and being curious and at the same time take that challenge to the next level, and learning the world is not as you imagine, that you get to go through so much. I got very, very scary because that time of my life I was not ready for that challenge. I was curious, I learned, I spent 2 3 months, I was spending maybe like 3 to 4 months in in Los Angeles, doing all this networking, traveling, like around all this different part of the Los Angeles. And I was so alone, I feeling so lonely. And I was like, oh my gosh, I get to manage my life trying to figuring out how I'm going to structure myself, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do that. And I didn't have money, like in the end, I was like, all my savings, everything that I have had, it's gone in few months, like 4 months. And the life was so expensive in LA. So I got very, very scary. But I'm very, very happy and grateful that I made that, that kind of like action to make that happen for myself, to see what's possible there. That's kind of like a challenge I believe everyone get to do or experience for themselves, to understand if it's really something for them. Do they really want to do that jump and create that reality for themselves? Because in the end of the day, it's all about experience. And it's up to us to decide what experience we want to have. Depends on our dreams, right? It's like what dream I want to live, what's reality I want to create for myself. I believe we're powerful creators and we can create absolutely anything we want. And reality is what we want to create and why we want to create that. And do we really want to commit towards that? It's up to us. In the end of the day, it's up to us how much we want to commit. Because when I came to LA and I said to myself, I'm going to be here for 3 years, I couldn't stay there for like 4 months even because of everything was happening was crazy. What I was learning about actress life was crazy. I was not ready for that jump to commit to that level of experience, let's say like this. I was too naive, too childlike. I was too feeling life is like all these pink elephants and, just need to be me and smile and everything would be fine. But it's not. You get to go through so much shit. Like I was thinking about like Jim Carrey or Keanu Reeves, all these actors who didn't have nothing, who created reality because they commit for years and years and years, staying in someone else's couch, going through all these different experiences, like living in the streets some days. I was not ready for that. I was too spoiled with my life and, you know, feeling my life is amazing in Norway, actually. Like I can travel around the world, I can do whatever I want. I'm so lucky and blessed to live in this country. And I don't want to have that challenge. Well, why? Just being famous and, and in the end being completely fucked up. I don't want. That's why I was like, do I want to have that experience or not? But that time I was 21, you know. Now, being in my 30s, I feel life has changed and I learned so much more about myself and my limits or challenge that I want to create for myself and why, and commitment towards that. I don't give up anymore like so easily just because I feel scary. I use fear as a fuel to be better, to like be excited. And of course, as a kid, you don't understand the danger. You don't feel the danger because you don't know. As an adult, you understand the level of the danger you want to go through and why. And that's the commitment between being adult and at the same time being still excited and curious as a kid, and the same time understanding how far you want to go with that and why is very important.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a really important thing for people to remember, especially if they are kind of maybe towards the beginning of their career, or they're debating whether to go all in on something, whether that's like a business idea or whether it's a big move to LA, whether it's going somewhere else, is to kind of ground yourself a little bit in the reality of that. I think especially things like Hollywood are very seen as very shiny, but there is a much darker kind of aspect to those things. I've had people on the podcast that have been, producers or worked in the film industry that have said a lot of things about the realities. But also it is, what are you willing to really commit yourself to? And that means being with it when it's not fun. That means staying with that pulling feeling inside you, pulling towards whatever you want to do, when it's not pretty, and holding on to actually not quite a ridiculous amount of delusion that it's going to happen at some point. And it is really what it's kind of checks and balances of what you're willing to endure for that. I mean, sometimes some people do get things easy, and we're not here to resent those people. But for some of us, it is, getting to the point of really being at the end of your tether, or really facing some things that are really, really challenging. I listened to an interview the other day with Sam Worthington. of Avatar. And he was saying that before he got Avatar, he just moved out of a house and he was living in his car at 29 years old. And then got Avatar, which is, I think the biggest grossing movie series so far in the world, um, which is insane. But he got to that point and he got to the point of like, I'm going to go to this one last audition. If I don't get it, then I don't know if I can do it anymore. And then boom. Before we continue, I want to pause and share something that I built for heart-led creatives like you. Ember is the supportive space to ground, to regulate, to reset, and to grow. Inside, you'll learn how to work with your creative energy instead of against it, so you can move through blocks and deeply trust your voice. You can try Ember for free for 7 days. Just head to the link in the show notes to join us, and I cannot wait to see you inside. Now, let's get back to the episode. So you really never know what's going to happen, and I don't want to shed a light of it's always going to be hard on everyone, because I think sure everyone listening has been through their ups and downs, but the joy of creating your own life as well as bringing your visions to life, whatever they are, is the best way to live. Mm-hmm. Even when it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right. And you're learning so many things about yourself. Like, for example, from my perspective, that time I open up the door of exploration, what I want to create in my life, what I want to do. And I understood through that experience, I understood that it's a program that I've been programmed to want something that's not even mine. It's not my dream. It was somebody created that dream for me, and I want to live that dream. And I was asking myself why I want to live that dream, why I want to be an actress. Is this my dream or it was created, because I started to think deeper. I started to kind of like go deeper in my own exploration, understanding what I'm here to create as a human being. I have my own purpose here. So deeper you started to go in your spiritual journey and your soul journey. That's how I explored Camino de Santiago, for example. You live in Barcelona, so like Camino de Santiago, they do like a spiritual or soul journey. So I did a solo on my own, Camino de Santiago, full from France to end of the Spain, and I walk to, after this experience, after a year after this experience, I said to myself, I get to go through some experience to understand my purpose. And I was the very young lady to go that, spiritual journey. And I meet people through that journey and they said to me, why do you do that? And I said, oh, I'm looking for my purpose. I'm looking for my soul purpose, because I'm feeling like I can live all my dreams, but right now I'm lost. I don't know what dream I want to live right now, because I'm feeling all the dreams that I have, or like I imagine, it's not my dreams. It's been created for me through the oldest books, through this oldest entertainment, through this and that. And I'm like, I want to live my dream and I don't know. And and I said, it's a very good question. You like already questioning yourself. And my spiritual journey was, what is true love? And I understood like true love is within. I'm the true love to myself. I get to learn how to love myself unconditionally. But I couldn't understand the idea of unconditional love. And so I started to kind of like be creative in that space and just be authentic myself. And I realized everything what we do is love. Everything what we give is love. The thing is, we have the ideas or expectations how we want to receive the love. And that's why we have a conflict, because we're projecting it and we don't receive the love that's coming our way, because we just have this different idea the way I want to be loved. And so it's many things I went through, the spiritual journey and deep journey that time of my life. And after that I moved to Portugal, did my property management and boutique hotel, and I realized being businesswoman, it's completely different to being engineer. It's completely different than after when I moved to started to do art. Art has always been on my way. Like I was always creating when I was a little bit sad, a little bit emotional, a little bit, like going through some up and downs in my life. So for me, it was kind of like get away or like, escape. And so one day when I was living here, my friends was telling me, Aisha, what about you just started to do art? And of course, my ambitious, like, I don't want to be an artist here in Lisbon. I want to go to Miami, be an art Basel. So they said to me, why do you want to go to Miami? Why you want to do that? I was like, oh, I want to be an artist. I want to be an art Basel. So I moved in 2020 to Miami, end of the 2019, almost 2020, the COVID hit. And that's what I realized. I was alone in a new country because every time I tried to move to America, I was very scary that when an actress, 10 years, whatever it was happened already for like a while ago, 5 years ago, whatever, that time of my life when I was trying to do that. And after I'm like, here I am moving full time again to Miami. It's like with this ambitious idea to be an artist. And I realized that I didn't have any friends, anyone to kind of like who I can count on. And at the same time, I was so scary, like really level of my like scary was vibrating at that level. I was so making decisions that was not serving me. But eventually in 2021, when it was Art Basel, I ended up in Art Basel because I was doing again all this networking. I was creating a lot of art. I collaborating with many artists. I gather a lot of artists. I've done a lot of like festivals already that time in 2021. So when I end up in Art Basel, it was a natural process of me being me and creating many different events and many different gatherings and speaking in the different conferences through the 2021. Showing up consistently, showing up for myself, and so for me, it's all experience. And at the same time, I knew that it's possible. I knew that I can be that person because everything was so easy and I love the whole experience. It's not like being actress and like going all these network events and being pushed in different direction or pulled different direction, and being also at the same time very young and scary. And here I am, I was like already kind of like going through this experience of building up the business, building up the boutique hotel, doing all this construction renovation, and being in this male dominant world where you a woman where you get to speaking up your voice. So being artist is also you creating your own business, you creating your own identity through your actions, through your philosophy that you're here to live, through the vision as an artist that you have. So it took me a while, of course, to like structure my vision and creating the reality I'm living now. The thing is like it's a commitment. This is my longest career that I had is as an artist. I already published the book. I'm publishing my second book. I have already so many like draft of the book I wrote. I decided like whenever I have a time and energy to publish, I just do it for myself to share it with the world. At the same time, I decided like marketing or the promotion or whatever we get to do, it's like the process of me just being me, continue to create, continue being in this creative flow and be authentic, be creative, be gentle with myself. Because in reality, we forget by chasing things, we forget about ourselves. And I'm here not to chase, I'm here to live and enjoy my life just the way it is. My up and downs, and when I get to rest, I get to rest. When I get to move, I get to move. When I get to dance, I get to dance. So everything is happening in the body. All life is happening through our body. And I used to say, when you do something or you don't do nothing, it's the same. It's all the same. In the end, it's all the same. by creating something consistently, or not creating anything, continue to live your life and doing whatever. It's the same. So why not to create? Why not to spend this time and create impact? Just in that speed that you want to create it. Maybe some days you will just be in the bed and feeling sorry about yourself. Some days you will be like the opposite, just like go, 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 go. It's all great as far as you're happy and joyful within yourself and in peace within yourself. That's for me like most important gift I can give to myself is just be authentic myself, saying to the people when I'm sad, when I'm happy, I'm happy, when I'm when I do things, I want to do things, and I'm just doing it. I'm not like asking how much I will get for this, how much I will get for that. It's not about that. It's that I believe and I trust that universe is always having your back. As far as universe or planet Earth wants you here, you will live and continue to create, because that create impact that matters for the humanity, because we all matters, we all here to create impact, just not the many of us understanding that if you just want to smoke weed all day long, you're also creating impact by doing and putting this experiment in your body, by doing something that matters. And that what I trust, that absolutely anything what we create matters for the planet Earth.
Yeah, totally. You said like a few interesting things there that I really want to kind of stress or maybe reaffirm or question. And the first one is, I think what you said earlier is that it happens in every creative industry. And it's something that I speak to a lot of people about. And that is this, we have a kind of dualistic image of what sometimes we think success looks like in an industry. Like if you're an actor, then it's being in a movie like that's making loads of money or being super famous or whatever else. If you're a musician, then it's, touring or being on a big stage. And then there is the version of that life that actually meets you in a way that feels good for you. And a lot of artists or a lot of creatives have this kind of push pull within themselves of, oh, maybe what the version of this that actually feels good for me or what I really want, maybe that's not enough. Maybe that's not impressive enough. Maybe that's not good enough. Maybe then it's not a like quote unquote real job. And I think that it's really powerful to come to that conclusion as well on your own, but in general, that actually this is not what I'm willing to commit to, or this I'm not willing to only chase that version of what it is. Or maybe I'm going to go left before I go right, and then go down another creative path, or then decide instead what is right for me and really stick by that and trust within myself that that is enough and that it is a real job or will be one day. Or does it matter? Like we can do as many things as we want to do, and then as you say, whatever you are doing, big or small, is creating an impact in some way. Like I think a lot of the time we again put pressure on impact, like it's got to change the world. And it's like, yeah, it can change one person's day, and that is changing the world, you know? And that's a really important thing I think that people have to remember. Again, I say quite a lot that if you create, I don't know, a painting or a piece of clothing or a piece of jewelry that just shifts someone's energy in some way, then it will take, it's like a drop in the ocean. It is a ripple effect. Their energy then shifts everyone around them, whether you realize it or not. So you are changing the world, whether it's a big thing or whether it's what you perceive to be a smaller thing. I'd really love to know that in that journey from realizing then what you don't want when you left LA to slowly finding what you do now, your purpose, or what something that does feel true and does feel right for you. Was there a practice or something that helped you along that journey that enabled you to trust or find something that does feel right? Was it just experimenting with loads of different things, or is it like a daily practice that really helps you to reflect on what feels right for you?
For me, it was a journaling. I do journaling all my life since like I'm 7 years old, since I started to read and write. And so I do a lot of reflection on what I think. Even so, my life when I was moving to Norway, from Russia, being orphan and all of that, I felt like I was very, very lonely. And I always have people around me, but I didn't feel the connection. So only the connection I had deep with the paper and pen. And I felt in the beginning it was just about facts, facts, facts. That's what happened. That's like consistent actions or like consistent facts. And slowly I started to connect it with my emotions and what I feel about that, what I'm experiencing right now. Does it matter for me? Even so, when I moved to LA and like doing this acting background, I didn't speak any English that time. My English was very, very limited, and I was working with vocabulary everywhere. It was before Google was still like not so well. Anyway, and I feel like I willing committed, and my career actually was taking off because I was doing background jobs. I get paid a little bit here and there. I did like some theater, like just for a few lines, that I was not speaking so well, but like I still can do this few lines. The thing is, I was connecting with the right people. I was just not seeing that moment of my life, the whole picture. I didn't know how to do zoom in and zoom out that time. And because I was just starting my life, but in the same time, I was living already so much. I was feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm so adult. I get to, instead to doing this acting, I get to be thinking about family and kids, something like that. So it was so many conflicts within me in that moment of my life that I get to deal with through this, through the years, until I find that peace within myself to understand I'm in a God hands. The God is always with me and God is also within me. So whatever I decided to create, I get to just enjoy it. Enjoy all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly. But the thing is, people don't realize that life will continue. It's up to us to decide. It's our decision in the end of the day what we want to experience, what emotions we want to experience, because we are in charge of our reality. We are in charge of our emotion, of our thoughts, and the processing things the way we want to process. We decide how long we want to be sad, and special creatives, we have this emotional up and down so strong sometimes, and we feel so lonely sometimes. Nobody understands our emotional depth, and it's okay. As far as you can do journaling, for me at least it helps, and meditation, and affirmations. It's that meditations come to me like maybe 10 years ago, so I started to practice more and more meditation and running in the mornings, 5 a.m. club with Robin Sharma. So I'm feeling like all the things, it's improved my life drastically. Like I realizing like partying and drinking or doing drugs, it's not something I would like to continue with. So my time is valuable, my sleep is valuable. So what I was doing in Miami and all my life in America was just sleeping very early. I went to at 11 p.m. I always say to the people, listen, I get to wake up at 5 a.m. Have my routine, morning routine. I have my morning routine when I was living in Miami. I go to the beach and I was dancing. I was doing my sound healing. I was doing this meditation, singing. But it was the process of my life, that moment to connecting with my femininity, understanding actually I'm a woman. I'm here to live my female or woman life, and to understand who I am as a woman, how I carry myself as a woman. So it's many, that's many things that when you allow yourself to flow and trust, and really trust, the trust is not easy because I'm a control freak. That because every time I have a fixed vision, the way I wanna have it, or I want to experience that. I have like a fixed vision. So nothing, and nobody can change my mind if I'm fixed. I want to do this, and maybe because I'm partially like Sagittarius, like my moon is, maybe because of that. I don't know. But the point is, I'm so stubborn. And I started to say to myself, Aisha, why are you so stubborn? Let's be more flexible. Let's be more flowy. Let's be more feminine, not be so in you masculine. Enter that femininity within you. But it was not easy. It was not easy in the beginning. But more you allow yourself, more you're relaxing, and more you allow yourself to trust, more you allow yourself to be happy and just joyful and like gentle, slowly you started to understand what it is to be in your feminine, what it is to carry your feminine. And it's all the process. This is like all this morning routines, journaling, meditation, affirmation. Actually, Carl Jung helped me. I don't know if I pronounced him right. Like, I started to read his philosophy. I call him more like a philosopher than scientist. And I feel like more I'm connecting and more I'm learning that my life is going to be in my body, and it is actually in my body whole my life. So it doesn't matter what other people think. So you started to create your boundaries. You started to create this joyful bubble. I call it like joyful bubble because you want to stay in that bubble for yourself. You can hug yourself. You can give yourself this affirmation, that love that you need. And the thing is, you don't need anyone from outside. You can give absolutely anything to yourself by embody the life that you want to live and embody the reality you want to create. But everything is within. You have absolutely all of it within. So be patient with yourself. Patience is not easy to access, especially for our generation, because we living in a very very speedy world where everything is just like consistent, like YouTube. We just press the button, we got like all the information or entertainment. It's just so easy, so we want to have everything like Uber Eats, whatever. That for us it's so easy. I'm so grateful, of course, that we're living in this reality. The point is, we cannot create and build something like a instant, like just press the button. We get to build like a tree, the apple tree or any tree takes years to give the fruits, right? And why we want to have everything now, even in relationship, romantic relationship, work relationship, everything we want to have now. No, you get to build, you get to create, you get to show up, you get to show the best of yourself, and be grateful that you have the potential, you have the experience that you want to live, you have these ideas. It's great. And I feel like as a creatives, we have so many ideas and the way we want to live. We have like so many ways of explore, and we forget that when we're creating expectations, we get to communicate them very clearly with reality, especially when we're creating with other people or co-creating with other people, that they also can communicate their expectations with you. In this case, you can balance it up, because if I will like guess and they will guess, we can create just a conflict in the end, because it's going to be misunderstanding, because the vision can be the same, the idea, but the idea walking towards that vision, it's different. So that's where we get to find the, I call it like ground points, how we can, or middle points, how we can continue to walk together towards that a dream that we want to live together. That's, I call it like a global dream of joy or abundance. And I'm feeling people many times they're not clear with themselves, they're not honest with themselves, they don't even know the principles and values that their core beliefs that they're standing for. Everything is just so blurry and everyone is so flicky. That's why you cannot ground yourself, why you cannot be like, this is my boundaries, this is my values. Why you, every time you're changing depends, of the situation. No, you got to stand for your truth. And it hurts. Of course, it can hurt other people, but you're not here to, it's not, you're not hurting them. They hurt themselves because of their ego, because of the expectations, because of whatever, because they still like a babies, behaving like a babies, and they're having the baby attitude. I call them like a crybabies. No, we are those human beings. I have my values, I have my principles, I have my way of living my life, and I'm grounded by that, by communicating my truth and my boundaries with other people and my principles and values. And they can understand it and value that, value them or and respect them or not. I'm not here to please anyone. I'm here to please myself, enjoy myself, and live the truth I'm here to live. By living truthful, I feel I'm grounding myself, and I'm attracting the right people into my life who also want to live that life that I'm living. So we're sharing the values and principles together, the same values and principles.
Mm. Yeah, definitely. I think that a lot of us get stuck in there, or we get distracted from what we really want and the voice that we really have, because we get stuck in external validation. Like we want somebody to like our work because subconsciously we think that that's them then accepting and loving and liking us, when it's not. They want to like the work. It's a subjective thing. They will like it, they won't like it. Everything you make is going to find an audience no matter what it is, but not everybody needs to like it. But we do get stuck in this need to be loved or liked. I think because creativity feels so vulnerable, we get really stuck on that, and then we can really get swayed in different directions and then really lose ourselves, because we forget, I think, that when you're standing by what you believe in, it is the most magnetic thing in the world, right? Somebody that's really anchored in who they are, what they stand for, what they will tolerate, what they won't tolerate. Like that is like a magnet for everything. And if you're just going to bend to other people all the time, you'll end up blending into with everything else, and then get really frustrated when you haven't achieved the things that you want to achieve, or you're not getting the recognition that you really desire. I was actually really reminded of this the other day because I was watching I'm not going to say who, but it was somebody talking about their inspiration behind their fashion show in Men's Paris Fashion Week. And they were just using all of these like floaty, artsy words that actually meant absolutely nothing. The collection that they put together was nothing groundbreaking at all. It was kind of, nothing that special, but they were using all of these words trying to appear like a designer more than actually being a visionary human being. And it was just one of those moments where you can really, I speak about this differentiation a lot with people and on the podcast, but to really see it in real time, I was like, wow. This happens so often, especially within art and design. We get really lost in trying to play the role of creative by being weird, or trying to be a little bit kooky or quirky, or saying all these floaty words. It happens within spiritual communities as well. And and again, it just means that you mean nothing in the world of creativity or externally. But when you can really be true to who you actually are and actually learn your craft and be a real visionary, you don't have to use any floaty language, or you're actually creating something that will stand out on its own without you needing to be kind of effective or performative about it. And as I said, that's the most magnetic thing, but it really takes the journey you're talking about of understanding who you are and what you stand for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're on the same page. Yeah, you understand because nowadays in the world that we're living in, it's all become trendy. It's trendy to play this role, play that role, and more. Like it depends which community you want to connect to. If you're connecting to this community or that community, it's like you get to shape yourself towards that. You cannot like it. That means you're not authentic. You still don't know what you want, and you still don't know what your like beliefs are, like your beliefs, because in reality I feel as an artist you get to be authentic, very authentic. Authenticity is what creates you who you are. If you look at the Salvador Dali or Picasso and you look at their creativity, they've been just them. They've been authentic. They didn't give a like fucks about what other people think about them. They just been continue. The Picasso didn't care if he will stay in the streets and like continue create his art, and Salvador Dali lives in his world of Dali world, where he was just himself as a prince, as a king, whatever he was dressing up every time, because he was just feeling what he was feeling inside, and he just carrying himself in that level. That way we know like Salvador Dali is famous everywhere in the world. Everyone knows about him. The thing is, and Picasso too, because of their authenticity, because their way who they were. And that's for me, like this is authenticity of being real, being a real artist, being real human, living your true high potential that you're here to live. You don't try to fit in. You're authentic. You are yourself. And like never again we will have a Picasso or Salvador Dali, because they were like so unique, and they were like they have a vision of the world that they were carrying within themselves, and they committed to that vision. They really committed their life towards that vision. They were ready to die for that vision. And that's what I feel the difference between fit in and shape yourself towards this direction or that direction. I call it like a spiritual gurus, or it's all like fitting in to being accepted, not like being authentic. It's kind of like still don't go deep within yourself to understand who you truly are. It's still like and like trying to understanding what world needs, and how I can shape myself towards that, or like feed myself in that. But I don't think it's right, because when you're in a relationship, especially romantic relationship, we women, we're trying to fit in this box or that box, and after we don't feel comfortable in that box, we what we're doing, we're putting ourselves in that box and trying to be in that box, and after we get frustrated, we get angry, we got all these things, because we, especially creatives, we cannot be in a box. We get to be flowy, like flowing around, just be authentic ourselves and just be happy, joyful, and don't limit ourselves with all these rules and all these like I call like society expectations. Especially like we women, we feel a lot of pressure from the society. Why? Because oh, you get to be married, you get to have kids, you get to, if you're this age, it's like shame on you, nobody wants to be with you, nobody love, like why you're not in a relationship, whatever, like it's so many things, so much pressure that women get to go through in her life. If she decided to be alone, or she's still very successful in the thing that what she's doing, it's still not enough. It's always this pressure. It's always this pressure of the being someone that you don't even maybe want to be. And why I want to be, why I get to fit in this society or that society. If I'm from living in Norway, living in Portugal, living in Spain, it doesn't, why? Why cannot be me? Why society judging me being me and trying to put me in a box, or trying to kind of like telling, oh, artist, okay, she's an artist, she's the crazy. Of course, the artist can say whatever they want, but like, it's this is the reality we're living in, because especially when you're creative, and people in the first place, they're trying to put you in a box, and after, when they cannot put you in a box, they're like, okay, whatever, I cannot put you in a box, I cannot even judge you. And they started to acting in a way that they're trying to understand you, and they don't. And it's okay. I'm saying, you don't need to understand other people if you don't want to. In our society, everyone is trying to fit in. Everyone is trying to, like, shaping themselves, because they don't want to be judged. They don't want to feel left outside. That's the reality, because everyone wants to be normal, whatever normal is.
Yeah, definitely. I think that as creatives, it's partly why I have this podcast, and also partly, well, I'm going to ask you the question, I'll ask you in a minute. But a lot of the time we can feel really misunderstood. And, everybody, the amount of, I could be a millionaire probably with the amount of people I've worked with that refer to themselves as like the black sheep. It's like we're all the black sheep. And I just think that sometimes you are that because you're here to live a different narrative or really change something in the world, or but being that or feeling that way anyway, if you do feel that way, then you're not necessarily that. Remember that that is also a feeling of isolation, or feeling weird is a feeling as well, not necessarily anchored in truth. So I just want to let you know that, but we can still feel that way, and sometimes feel really misunderstood, which is why I like to kind of guide the podcast to an end with two questions that I ask for everybody. And the first one is, what do you think is the most common misconception people have either about you or about the work you do? Could be either or both.
I think people judging on appearance, or like when you're like a good looking, you get to every time like looking good, or and after when you started to speak up your truth, or your vision, or the reality that you're living in, people feel like, as you said, people think like you're weird, or you are like crazy, and they many times they're feeling scary. They don't want to like know you, and they don't want to go and kind of like go deeper to get know you, because many times they just scary the way you think, or in this case they scary the way I'm saying, and they decided to place me on weird or crazy. And it's like I accept that already. I'm like, before it was not easy for me, because I was trying to prove myself, and I was trying to kind of explain myself, but not I'm not doing it anymore. I'm accepting the people who really been using curiosity and like excitement to learn about me. They would ask more question, and one would like to go deeper in exploration and of that creative within themselves in the first place, because I believe we're all mirrors of each other. So it's like it's going both way. If you're projecting something, I just put a mirror, in the same time. If you're smiling to the mirror was smiling to you too, right? And it's like everything is, in reality, everything is perception. And that's why I helping people or guiding people to say like what perception you want to live. It's up to you. Do you want to live in heaven, or do you want to live in hell? Like it's a choice, and we humans, we always have a choice to be here or not to be here, be or not to be. It's like that's how I think. That was like, for me, people always been people.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. That's such a cool answer. No one's ever said that, but I definitely agree. And I feel that way too, that we are all mirrors of each other. And sometimes if you feel like somebody is misunderstanding you, it's because there's something in themselves that they haven't seen or don't accept or judge. When people
Mm-hmm.
judge you based on what they judge within themselves,
Mm-hmm.
often,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
second question that I like to ask everybody is if you think back to, I don't know, it could be your whole life or it could be your whole career, and think of a memorable conversation that you had. Who are you talking to? And what did they say that has stuck with you through everything?
I think it was when I met my second boyfriend that I was being together for like we're still like friends many like he knows me for all my life. We had this very meaningful conversation. He said to me, right and wrong is have very very teeny line, and it doesn't have like right is depends of the perception again, and wrong is also depend of the perception, but it's up to you to decide. Of course, for example, if you're going to kill someone or not to kill someone, it's a like it's extreme. But the thing is like it's always the line of the right and wrong. Would you live with that by knowing that you have done something wrong, and that was very very like not acceptable by society? Would you accept that, within yourself and being in peace with that? So it's like he was always telling me this is right and wrong is very tiny line between what direction. It's an edge, and you're always walking on an edge between the right side. You always want to be in the right side. The thing is like you walking very very edge in the edge of the very very close to the wrong. And that's idea of perception of the right and wrong was kind of like stick with me very very deeply, because I feel many times when we're going through, let's say, experiences in our life, that we're getting angry at of the people, like getting angry at people because of some work thing or like some project that we didn't go through, whatever. I feel it doesn't matter how mad you can be at others, or the situation, whatever. You get to understand on what side I want to be. You get to go deeper within yourself, understand how peaceful I can be within myself, to understand that it's just experience. And do I want to do the revenge just because? Some people using as a fuel, and I feel it's better to find that peace within yourself and move forward, and just go with the flow, but always stay in that right side, on the edge of the right side.
Okay. Love that. Yeah, definitely true. There's always a very thin line. Um, but when you know your values, then you know what your right side is, right? We were talking about earlier. Cool. I
Mm-hmm.
love that. Thank you so, so much for coming on the show, Aisha. This has been so much fun. I hope everyone listening has enjoyed that very much. I'll leave obviously the links to find you in the show notes, but just in case anyone's ready to find you right now, where's the best place that they can go to find your work or everything else that you do?
People can go to my website, is Aisha.today, is AISHA.today, where people can find my project, my art, my book, and my mentorship program that I have as well. And just book the time with me. It's very easy, and my number is also there. People can always connect with me directly and by email. Super easy. And social media, I have right now, I'm just using Instagram. It's called like a Joyful Living Guide, so people can also connect through that, where I'm putting like word of affirmations, and how to live joyful life.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely leave that down below, everybody. But thank you again so, so much for being on the show. Thank you, everybody, for listening. If you have loved this, then share it with somebody. You can also share it on social media. And if you do, then tag us both and let us know what you learned. I always love to hear. But thanks again. And everybody, I'll see you next week.
Bye.
Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Maverick Mind. I hope that you've loved it, and if you have, I would appreciate it so much if you would subscribe and write a 5-star review on wherever you're listening to this podcast from. If you'd like to keep the conversation going, I invite you to join me over on Instagram at maverickmindco or on my website maverickmind.elliefoden.com. And I'll see you in another podcast very, very soon.